last night the Tortured Poets department came out. I've decided I'm gonna, you know, crawl out of bed, walk my booty down to Target, and pick up the album. Also, I really like the Target edition album. It's the clear vinyl. And I was debating on pre-ordering it, but I was also like, I really want to listen to this album first. So I'm gonna go pick up the album because again, there are like a good grip full of songs that I actually really enjoyed from that album. This video is just gonna be me like giving you my review of each song. It's like a little vlog / review sesh of the Tortured Poets department that none of y'all asked for. Last night I was watching Kylie's Twitch stream of the album release, and I stuck around for the Tortured Poets department album, but when the anthology dropped at 1 in the morning, I was like, I can't do this. I'm so tired. So I literally listened to, I think it was Black Dog was the name of the track, and I just like I need to go to bed. There's so many people going to Target right now. I've never seen this many people going to Target, and now I'm like stressing because I was like, oh yeah, my Target's gonna be so quiet. Nobody's gonna be going there to pick up Taylor Swift. Maybe like everyone is going to pick up Taylor Swift. Worst case scenario, I have to order it online. I have been impatiently to open this because I wanted to open it with y'all, but I had some meetings I had to get into. So this is why I could never do like unboxing videos, because I just want to like rip into things right away. So again, this is the Target edition, and these are the clear vinyls. And this comes with the manuscript as its extra track. I'm sure we all know what the cover art looks like by this point. Book it comes with is glued into of the record sleeves. There is an introductory poem by Stevie Nicks right here. One of my favorite things about buying CDs as a kid was like flipping through the little pamphlet that came with it with all like the lyrics and all like just the additional album art. This is disc 1. This is what the album looks like, y'all. Oh my god! How cool is that? Okay, and this is disc. I say disc just because I grew up with CDs, but this is what disc 2's cover art looks like. Or sleeve art looks like, I guess. And the disc looks exactly the same. I am just enamored by how vinyls work. It's crazy that you can just like etch stuff into this giant disc, and it comes out like beautiful music. Let's get this show on the road.
The following review of the Tortured Poets department album is subjective and reflects the personal views of the reviewer. Individual interpretations of the album may vary, as music is inherently subjective. Efforts have been made to provide an honest assessment, but personal biases may influence the content. These views are not endorsements and do not represent the opinions of any affiliated parties. Listeners are advised to listen to the album themselves and draw their own conclusions before making any judgments.
Okay, y'all, so some disclaimers right off the bat. First and foremost, I would never consider myself a Swiftie. I enjoyed lots of her music up until Reputation, and then Taylor Swift just kind of fell off of my radar until I would say this past year with the Eras Tour. I would also like to note that I am back enjoying Taylor's music because my niece forces me to listen to her anytime I drive her anywhere. You can blame my niece for this video. I also want to note that this is completely opinion-based. Everything I say is solely off of my opinion and my own personal speculations. I don't know Easter eggs. I honestly don't really know the ins and outs of Taylor's life and all of her relationships, and I know this album really delves into that. So I just want to get that out of the way. I also want to note that we can have civil discourse about this album, but Let's just like, keep it kosher in the comments if you so choose to comment. Okay, with all of that noted, let's lay out the structure. Obviously, for copyright reasons, I'm not gonna be sitting here just listening to the music with y'all. It's not a jam sesh. I might include clips of me like reacting to certain parts of a song, but ultimately this is just going to be my opinions and my reactions on each individual song within the Tortured Poet Department album. As I've said before, I got the exclusive Target vinyl, which includes the extra song called The Manuscript. And I want to note that if you utilize streaming services to listen to your Taylor Swift experience, you can enjoy all of her bonus tracks that are on the various vinyls and CDs within the Tortured Poets Department anthology. So look that up. It's a digital album with 30 songs. So you can listen to what we're about to listen to, you can listen to some extra fun bits, and then you can listen to all of the extra bonus tracks that are on all the various vinyls and CDs. So with all of that noted and out of the way, the tea is hot, quite literally. I will be critical of songs that I just don't like, because let me tell you, I have listened to this album and there are songs I don't like, but I want to at least explain why I don't enjoy certain songs versus what I love about other songs. So grab your drinks, grab your snicky snacks, and listen along. Pause this video, listen to the album, and then once you finish a song, come back and let's chat about it. How about that? I like that idea. And let's listen to track 1, Fortnight. So I'm not gonna lie, last night, listening to Fortnight, not my favorite song. Not my favorite song. I think it's also, at least for me, I have not listened to Miss Swift's entire discography. I've not listened to Taylor's entire discography in the sense that I haven't listened to Midnight's. Do I know some of the more popular songs? Absolutely, but I have not listened to Midnight's at all. I also haven't listened to like Evermore, but there's just albums and references that I don't have a back knowledge on. So with that noted, this felt very Lana Del Rey. And not that it's bad that it sounds Lana Del Rey, but I almost feel like it should stay with Lana. Last night I was watching Kylie's stream and it was speculated and assumed and opinionated that, in our opinion, this is about Maddie Healy. But the more I think about it, and again, I don't know like the full scope of her life and her personal relationships, but it references only being together for a fortnight and which is like 2 weeks. And I'm pretty sure she was with Maddie for longer than that. And it also references like your wife and I want to kill her. And to my knowledge, Mr. Healy is not married and was not married. So I'm almost kind of thinking like, is this about some person that we as a collective audience don't even know about? Like, was it just this guy that she was infatuated with? I don't know. That's where my brain is going with this song. I think this is about someone we don't even know about. But yeah, I will 110% admit this was not my favorite song last night. And it's probably still not going to be a favorite of mine from this album, but I think this is one of those songs that the more you listen to it and you consume it, the more it grows on you. But up next, we have the Tortured Poets Department. So let's kick it off, kids. I was hoping that the Tortured Poets Department the namesake of the album was gonna be a good song, but it wasn't. For me, it's just kind of like meh. It's just meh. I also feel like this is gonna be a comment I have on most songs within this album, and it's kind of obvious based on Taylor's notes and Instagram messages and social media posts about this album, is that it is very much a personal album, like most of her albums, but very much a personal album. So there are so many references to certain people, certain things, certain places. And do we know some of those things? Sure. As a general audience, you might. I think Swifties will know a lot more and have more insight on those things. But someone who declared myself not a Swiftie, just someone who enjoys her music from time to time, yeah, there's just a lot of references that I don't quite understand. And I let me know in the comments down below. Like, do you guys get the Thomas Dylan or the Dylan Thomas and Patti Smith reference, the Chelsea Hotel reference? I'm not gonna lie, I was doing some Google searching on who Patti Smith and Dylan Thomas was, and it still really didn't help me out all that much. So if y'all get those little clues, let me know. I don't know about that one. Anyways, on to the next song, which is My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. My boy only breaks his favorite toys. That's a catchy one. However, the part where it's like, my boy only breaks his favorite toys. I want it to be like, my boy always breaks his stupid toys. That would, like, in an ideal world. In an ideal world. That would be what the song is about. Unfortunately, I'm having a feeling that it's about some dude. Don't know who. Don't know which one. Let me know in the comments down below if you know which one. But I'm pretty sure it's alluding to the fact that Taylor was this gentleman's toy and he broke her. Pretty cut and dry there, but that is a catchy one. That was one of the ones where I was like, I just don't know how I'm feeling about this album, because it's the third track and I was just like, I just don't know. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I think Fortnite and My Boy Breaks His Favorite Toys, I'm pretty sure those are going to be songs that grow on me. Like, the more I hear them, the more I'm going to appreciate them. But I don't think I'll feel that way about the Tortured Poets Department song. I think that's just going to be a song that's always going to be a meh for me, personally, at least, you know. On to track 4, Down Bad. If I can't have him, crying at the gym. Have him down bad. Forget if I can't have him. I love that song. I would give that 4 stars because when she's singing the lines, forget if I can't have him, it's just almost too, like, space fairy tale, like fairy vibes. It's like you're in space, fairy, ethereal, sci-fi. It's a sci-fi fantasy. I so want it to just get dirty and get grungy. And I just need some reputation in my life. I just wanted that to be like, bucket if I can't have him. Like some bruise, some grill, some grit. That's what I want from that song. I want someone to remake that song and just like put a little gravel into it. But that's a good song. It's a relatable song too. Oh my god, the part where she's like, I was crying in the gym, and I'm just like, past Kayla can so relate. Do you ever just wish that certain songs came out during certain periods of your life? Because Kayla needed that song at one point in my life, but I needed that song like 8-10 years ago. Next, we are flipping over to side B. That is such a heartbreaking song in the sense of loving a place so much. And if you know the lore of Taylor Swift, you know she lived in London during her darkest of days. She loved London so much, and to have someone just completely take that away from you is devastating and heartbreaking. And there's like, it happens in quite a few of her songs actually, where her voice just like trembles. And I love so much that they chose to keep those bits in there, because it just makes the songs feel so real and so raw, and you're like, yeah, I get that. That fucking sucks. And it's devastating. One thing I did note that I'm not sure if I love it or if it's just weird, but that song actually starts out with a very melodic, almost like church sounding music, like like a very just church music, and then it just breaks into like this synth beat, and it's back to our sci-fi fantasy vibes. There's so much synth in this album where I'm just like, wasn't expecting that, but I don't hate it. I don't know if I love it, but I don't hate it. That was So Long London. Now we are on to But Daddy, I Love Him. But you should see your faces. I'd rather burn my whole life down than listen to one more second of all this bitching and moaning. Tell you something about good day. It's my lonely music. If you couldn't tell, that was one of my favorite songs on this album. It just like, it's like adult Taylor Swift, obviously, meets Fearless. And I love it. Like, I want her to make, I know, it's probably never gonna happen, but I would love for her to make a album that's reminiscent of her, like, early country days. Because that song just is, like, so much nostalgia. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I have nothing else to say. It's just so good. Anyways. On to the next song, which is Fresh Out the Slammer. You know how some songs just are songs? That's how I feel about Fresh Out the Slammer. I find that song to just kind of be like one of those songs that it's like nice to have playing in the background, because it's not like a bad song, but it's also not a song that you're like screaming to the top of your lungs to, you know? That's how I feel about Fresh Out the Slammer, which is kind of funny because for some reason, like, the intro music is giving like old Western vibes, like Shoot 'em up bang bang style, and then the name of the song is like, oh, she's out, she did her time, she's about to serve. And the song itself is just very like white noise almost, at least for me personally. It just didn't do anything for me. Anyways, next we're hitting up Florida, which features Florence Welch from Florence and the Machines, baby. Is that a bad thing to say in a song? Florida is one hell of a drug. Okay, here's the thing with this song. I love Florence's parts. Taylor, not so strong. You put Taylor and Florence together, and Florence is gonna dominate a song every single time, hands down, no questions asked. No questions asked. Also, there's just some parts where it's just like, this feels like a disjointed song. Like, there's just parts where it's like, this doesn't feel like it belongs together. And not saying you can't have songs like that, especially when they return back to the original melody. It went into like the bridge of the song, and it just threw off the whole vibes of the song. But yeah, that's definitely a song where you're just like, bah, 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 Florida. That was the end of disc 1, side B. Now let's hop on over to disc 2, side C. Guilty as sin. I don't know how I feel about that song. It's catchy. You know, not every song is gonna be a banger, but not every song is gonna be a dud. There are some songs that exist out in the world that are just like, good. It's a song. I like it in the background. I enjoy listening to it. But again, it doesn't have to be just like blow you out of the park every friggin' time. Speculation on this song. My theory, my opinion, my speculation is this is another song about a person that we will never know anything about. They were never in a public relationship with Taylor. They were just some person that she fantasized about. Because that's literally what this song is about. Oh, by the way, the song is titled Guilty as Sin. I realized I didn't introduce the song. I just introduced the disc. And I honestly think that's what this song is about, is it's just fantasizing about someone. And I think it's so relatable, right? Like, we all, as human beings, for the most part, have probably just, like, you know, lusted after someone, fantasized about someone. I think the more I talk my theories about this song, the more I like it. But again, it's not one of those songs where I'm just, like, gravitating towards it and wanting it. But I am enjoying it. We are hopping on to the next track, which is Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? I just need to know, and I really need someone to make a shirt or a sweater or something with that saying on it. Just Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? And thank you. Please make it like aesthetically pleasing. No crazy graphics, just, you know, just the saying. Simple, classic. Yeah, because I need that. If you couldn't tell. If you couldn't tell. If you couldn't tell. Obsessed. Pretty sure Who's Afraid of Little Old Me and But Daddy I Love Him. Favorite songs. Two favorite songs. As I've been acknowledging, I think some of these songs are just going to grow on me over time, but those two songs in particular just like standout bangers for me personally. We are heading into I Can Fix Him. No, really, I can. So we as a collective, and mostly me, I'm going to speak on my part. I totally thought this album was going to be just like tearing Joe apart, and I feel like it's not. Like, obviously, Goodbye London was about Joe. Aside from that, I feel like it's either been about Maddie or some mystery dude. Because that one referenced Texas, and Florida also referenced Texas. And it's about this dude from, Texas. So now I'm just, like, thinking, who is this mystery Texas man? Also, but so relatable, being like, I can fix him. Who out there in the world has never thought, I can fix him? He'll change for me. Things will be different with me. Fun fact, honey bunny, very rarely are things different. Very rarely can you fix a man. Man needs to fix himself. And you need to stop traumatizing yourself by trying to fix men. That's my 2 cents on that. And we are heading to the end of side C with LOML. This is one of those songs where I feel like if I was in a different stage in my life, like that would have like struck me to the core. But I'm in such like a good place in my life that song was just a song. It was a beautiful song. It was a song that I would not be like skipping over. That's the thing with Taylor Swift, is I feel like a lot of her songs are love songs or are about relationships, past and present and future. And so you really kind of have to be within that same path of your life for it to really impact you. With that noted, LOML was a beautiful song. Hey, if the angle's a little different and the lighting's a little different, it's because I took a little break. We are hopping on to the final side of the second disc, and we are starting off with I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. Don't forget your drinks and your snacks, kids. Got 4 more songs to go.
'Cause I can do it with a broken heart every day, but he avoids me like a play. All the pieces of me shattered as the crowd was chanting more.
That is like one of those unhinged, deranged, like, I'm just trying to power through it kind of songs. The subject matter is very upsetting, but the bop of it all is very, like, upbeat, happy, fun, go lucky, just like, da na 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 every day. She's literally talking about, like, just trying to, like, pull herself up by her bootstraps and get through this breakup. One of the things I do love is that this was obviously written around the time of the Eras tour, because she's literally sitting there going, like, first off, there's, like, background noise where a guy is, like, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, but, like, that's usually, like, counting people on. Okay, guys, lights, camera, action, let's go. She mentioned, she's like, I can hit my mark even with a broken heart. The actual production of the Eras tour, there's certain songs where she literally, like, has to step in certain places for it to look like she's literally breaking the stage with her step. So that instantly, when I heard that part, I thought instantly of that detail of information of her hitting her marks. And it's just also, this is another really relatable song in the sense of, like, obviously you and I, let's have a real talk here, we're probably never gonna host anything to the capacity and the monstrosity in which was the Eras tour, but I think most people have gone through some sort of heartbreak which has just been so debilitating. But the unfortunate thing is that life still goes on, and we as humans are still expected to carry on with life as normal, even though on the inside we are literally dying. Okay, next we are heading on to The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Let's kick it, kids.
If rusting my sparkling summer was the goal.
And this song is assumed, in our opinions, and our collective opinions, it's assumed that this one is about Mr. Matty Healy, you know, the misogynistic man-ho. Honestly, I don't really know anything about Matty Healy. I've just heard that he is kind of a POS and degrades women, and that's just not the vibe in 2024, you know? One of my favorite lines, and what really made me think this was about him, was the line where she says, and I actually love this line so much, but it's just like, that was the nail in the coffin for me. And it's where she says, if resting my sparkling summer was the goal. Y'all, last summer was her Eras tour. She was just, like, living it up, having the best time of her life. And then Matty Healy, like, appears in the picture for, I think, like, a total of maybe a month or so. There was a big stain put on Taylor after people started seeing her with him. And, like, he's, like, at all of her shows. He's, like, on stage with her. Again, he's kind of like a misogynistic a-hole. And a lot of her fans are like, what the F is going on with this? Because he's, like, the antithesis of everything you stand up against. So I really think, like, this song right here is just kind of like a big ol' F you to Mr. Healy. And, yeah. I hope he's doing well. I hope he's taking a mental health day. Honestly, after this entire album came out, because again, a lot of people thought this was going to be about Joe, but I feel like most of the songs are about Maddie. That's just my 2 cents on a subject I'm not that well informed about, but I have a general concept of the timeline of people in Taylor's life. But on a very different note, we're about to head into the Alchemy. And I think this song is quite clearly about a current love interest of Miss Taylor Swift.
Where's the trophy? He just comes running over. Call the amateurs and cut him from the team. Get the crown, baby, I'm the one to be.
So if you didn't know, 99.9% positive that is about Mr. Travis Kelce. I mean, come on. Touchdown. Call the amateurs. We'll cut him from the team. She also makes reference to trophies. Your friends lifting you up. Super Bowl win. Like, we all know Alchemy is about a Mr. Travis Kelce. That's my 2 cents on the Alchemy. I actually really like that song. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. Okay, next we are hopping on to the last track of the album, and then we have the bonus track. So we are about to listen to CLARA, Bow.
You look like Taylor Swift.
Okay, so like a lot of people lost their minds over the fact that in CLARA, Bow, Taylor Swift references herself. She actually like says her name for the first time in a song. And so many people lost their mind, and like I kind of see where they're coming from, because she's like taking back her name. But there is another song, and it's one of my faves. I just don't remember which one. Okay, so it's in But Daddy I Love Him, where she says, "I'll tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace." So it's really taking the stance on, honestly, like all the shit she's gotten in the past, from like the public, the general public, to her haters, to some of her fanatics, and really being all like, y'all can say whatever you want about me, but at the end of the day, I am the holder of my name, and what happens with my name is mine alone to dictate. And I just like, when I heard that part, I was just like, yes. So it kind of does bring it full circle with CLARA Bow, where she's like, you look like Taylor Swift. Obviously, I can't sing. Let's hop on over to the manuscript.
Then she dated boys who were her own age. Since she was so wise beyond her years. One last souvenir from my trip to your shore. Now and then I reread the manuscript, but the story isn't mine anymore.
So my first critique of the song is that the pacing just always fell off. Because you had like these slow moments where it was very like, it was just very slow. And then there was moments where it would start to pick up. And it's almost like this beat was just like every other. I don't know, just like something about the pacing of that song was just completely throwing me off, which also kind of added to like its eeriness, aside from like obviously the way she was singing and like the higher toned stuff, because you're so used to like that consistent beat to be deeper, right? You expect it to be like on a drum, like a bass drum, but that was like the high, like a higher note on a keyboard. So it's just like, it's off-putting and eerie, which I like. It was just like, I didn't know like how to be moving to that song. She references like, I'm dating guys my own age now. She has dated, I think, 2 men who were like much older than her. I'm like, is this about them? I feel like they've already had their time in the light, but who knows? But then at the end, she also references like, thanks for visiting your shore, or something like that. So we know like Joe is from across the pond. So was she referring to him? I don't know. I'm very confused about this song. It's just a very confusing song in general. It's a good song, but it's just like, it all started with just the pacing. It just had me very like very thrown off. So my overall thoughts and opinions on the Tortured Poets Department. First and foremost, compared to all her other albums, that is a mouthful to say, and I don't know why, but every time I go to say the Tortured Poets Department, I need to like pause or like think about what I'm actually saying, which honestly might be the whole point, because if you really pay attention to the pacing of the songs and the cadence of the songs and how she's like singing the songs, it does often have a very poetic quality, like almost sing-songy. Like it's not your typical just like sing a song, belting out the song. But there were some songs in the album where it really did feel like how her cadence and how she was putting the words together, not in the sense of like forming sentences, but how she was vocalizing the words, enunciating the words, putting certain emphasis on certain words, was very poetic and very much in conjunction with how a lot of poetry is written and how a lot of poetry is read. She checked the box on the fact that this is called the Tortured Poets Department. This album is very much not like a top hits, you know, radio friendly. These don't tick the box for those fields as an artist. I think this was literally just her putting herself out there. And in her Instagram post, she had referenced when this album came out, it's like, this is me. This is the past 2 years in one album, and it's behind me, and we're closing the gate on this one and locking it, moving on with life. I don't know where I was going with that. I just had a brain fart. But overall, while I am not a Swiftie, I think if you really look at this art as art, and if you look at it as poetry, and if you're not looking for a top 40s hit, and if you're not looking for songs that like tick the box for the award shows, I think this is a fantastic album. And I think my initial listen to it, I was really listening to it as like, are these top 40 songs? And they're honestly, there's like every single one of them, something about it that's just like slightly off-putting. Whether it's the pacing, whether it's the beat, whether it's the rhythm, whether it's the tonality, whether it's the certain instrumental components. Like there's a lot of synth. There's a lot of songs in here that very much had like a synth 80s vibe to it. And I know that's kind of like making a comeback, but I don't know. It was just, if you look at it as just art, and honestly, if you do look at it as more poetry, I think it really hits the mark. So if you take this quite literally for the name of the title, this is some phenomenal poetry. I was telling my partner earlier, I was like, these aren't just like repetitive pop songs that, you know, are earworms and just get stuck in your head. These are songs that really tell stories. I feel like not a lot of artists are telling stories with their music anymore, and I think more should. I think if one of the big standards of that type of music in recent history is Queen. And if you think of Bohemian Rhapsody, there's nothing about it that is repetitive. And yet, so many people can sing that song from beginning to end, even though there's nothing really that repeats itself in the entire song. And I think if you're an artist and if you can make work like that people just love and adore and obsess over, that's fucking impressive. Also, with me cursing there, this is the most I've ever heard Miss Taylor Swift swear. And at first it's like slightly jarring, and then you just kind of get used to it. And it's jarring because you're not used to her swearing in her music that often. And the first time I heard it, I was like, Miss Ma'am, you swear? But then you like kind of just get past it. That's my random last note. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below. Have you listened to the Tortured Poets Department? Let me know if I should listen to the anthology. And if you don't want to be like, hey Kayla, you should listen to the Tortured Poets Department anthology, just leave a black heart and I'll know that you think I should listen to it. Was I too nice to Miss Taylor Swift? Should I have been more critical? Or was I too critical and I should have been more nice? Subscribe to the channel. I don't usually do stuff like this, but let me know if you want me to review more albums and things like that. I'll catch y'all on the next one.